Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Citlalli from the Mexicn movement, and I very briefly want to share with you my final paper that is entitled Genocide Without Genocide, and that is in quotations, a case of indigenous people of the Americas, and that is in quotations. I just want to kind of give you the outline of what I researched for this paper, and it's work that took me 10 weeks, and this was the focus of the whole 10 weeks. So this was a very neat opportunity for me to completely dive into this topic. And I really appreciate the fact that the professor was, open-minded enough and allowed me to address this issue. I thought that was great. So basically, I start off with what the argument is today of genocide and how some historians don't want to apply the term genocide to our people, while other historians are, they kind of apply it in some areas, but not others. And then some historians have fully taken it on, like David Stannard and Ward Churchill. We get into the intentionality of genocide. What this paper is trying to bring in, or I'm trying to incorporate, is that genocide, the intent to destroy, which is part of the definition of Raphael Lemkin, who's the Polish Jew that created the concept of genocide and pushed it and presented it to actually become a legal instrument to be able to incriminate people that participate in these crimes. So what he was talking about is that, genocide of the indigenous peoples. He has essays and chapters on the experiences of our people. He includes it in his study of world genocides. And what I wanted to incorporate was the fact that the intention to destroy could be found in the requerimiento, in the religious edicts like the papal bulls, and the requerimiento, where basically they are public, moral, and legal documents that are expressed upon our people that basically take over who we are. They take over our lands. They take over even our moral independence or whatever religious freedom. So basically, these were statements that declared war against our people, and they're basically declaring that they're going to destroy us. And so based on those documents, what I argue is that all of the acts that came therefore on are because they were trying to kill us. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't accidental. They made it very clear from the very beginning that they wanted to destroy us. So this counter argument that says, oh, it was just an accident, they didn't know what they were doing, the germs were just out of control, to me it's bullshit. Because it is. Because if you are saying this declaration and you are backing up the Spanish crown and you are backing up the government of your country, and then all of these people die in the millions, and then all of a sudden you're going to say, oh, that was an accident. It was no accident. This was purposeful, whether it was through violence, biological warfare, slavery, rape, terrorism, all of that. The ultimate result resulted in what you declared and you announced that you would do to us. So therefore, all of these acts, piled one by one, reflect genocidal behavior. So I get into the genocide debate. I get into how Raphael Lemkin himself used the example of our ancestors and what we went through to talk about genocide in other parts of the world. He basically charges genocide against the Spanish crown and says that very few exceptions, that the Spaniards are guilty of all accounts of genocide. I get into some of the counter arguments. I get into the supporting arguments, which are made by David Stannard and Ward Churchill. The counter arguments, we all know it's part of standardized history textbooks. It was an accident, the coming of two worlds, a natural disaster. That's what they say. So after I talk about Raphael Lemkin, I get into the intent to destroy. And like I said, I'm trying to argue that the requerimientos of the late 15th century, these were documents that stated, we're taking over your land, we're going to take over your people, we're going to destroy you. So when you have that as a statement, any destruction, any death that results from your interactions with people whom you are declaring that to is genocide, because you made it obvious and you've declared it to us. And I actually quote some of the primary sources. I quote the actual requerimiento. I quote Raphael Lemkin. And then I get into germs and warfare. It's not, there is a lot of speculation saying, oh, it wasn't on purpose. First of all, like I've said in my other video, Europeans knew about biological warfare. They knew that in Europe. They had already used that against each other in battles and wars, okay? So when they come here and they see the same effect going on, they didn't just stop and say, oh, let's save these people. No, they didn't care. They knew what was going on. It was very tactical. It's very tactical that the warriors are the ones dying first of smallpox. It is the leadership that dies first of smallpox. You cannot argue. You cannot argue with me, tell me that that was not done on purpose, okay? But again, we don't have a smoking gun until the 18th century where we actually have Europeans saying, I will infect these Indians with handkerchiefs. I hope that the desired effect takes place. You know, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But again, that is in my paper where I'm quoting from the actual correspondence during the American War that talks about how they purposely planned and did infect our people. And then I talk about my conclusion. And as I was said, the genocide began with the declarations of the Requerimiento and the papal bulls. In addition to that, 500 years of genocide without genocide. Basically, I'm saying that this genocide needs to be known. It should not be argued over and over about. This is not just about semantics. This is bigger than someone's book. This is someone's lives. We as Indigenous people, we as Nicantlaca people are the survivors of this experience. And for our experience to be ignored and to be overlooked and for our lives to be belittled by this system of white supremacy is a continuous crime of genocide that has not ended. So that's pretty much what I do at the end of the paper. I'm calling for history textbooks to be revised. I'm calling for history textbooks to include our history as a people and our experience. Just like we know about the Jewish Holocaust and there's museums of tolerance and we have weeks of remembrances, we have nothing to commemorate the lives of 100 million of our people that were killed by Europeans through the systems of violence, of biological warfare, of slavery, of terrorism. Thank you for listening. That is my paper entitled Genocide Without Genocide. I'm going to be posting this up very soon. I just wanted to do last minute edits. All my sources are there. My endnotes are there. And again, I just want to say thank you to my professor. And I have a group of professors actually who are very encouraging and very open to this concept and to challenging the whole, pretty much the hegemony of white supremacy in academia. So that is my paper. If you have any questions, please write me comments, questions, message me, whatever you can. Again, that's what I wanted to present. Citlalli from the Mexica movement. Thank you very much for watching.